I was spending a week in a remote mountain cabin deep in the Cascades of Washington, far from the city. Winter had just begun, and a light layer of snow covered everything. The first 3 days were peaceful. The silence of nature soothed my soul. But on the 4th day, a sudden, forceful knock on the door sent a strange uneasiness through me. When I opened the door, a man stood there wearing a thick winter coat. His face was pale and his cheeks were reddened from the cold. The snow on his clothes suggested he had been outside for a long time. "How can I help you?" I asked. The man gave a faint smile and said he was lost and needed directions to get back to town. The town was about an hour's drive from here, and I couldn't understand how he had walked all this way. I gave him directions, but instead of leaving, he just stared at me in silence for a few seconds. Feeling uneasy, I quickly shut the door. Hours passed, and the snowfall grew heavier. I decided to check outside and slightly parted the curtain. My blood ran cold. Fresh footprints circled the cabin. Had the man walked around to the back before knocking on my door? A deep sense of dread filled me. I double-checked the doors and windows, locking everything. Turning off the lights, I crawled into bed, but the uneasiness lingered. Around midnight, that unexpected sound pierced through the silence. The door was being knocked on again. "Hey, it's me again. I'm still lost, it's freezing. Can you help me?" His voice echoed through the wind. My blood froze. He never left. Moving silently, I peeked through the curtain. There were footprints leading to my front door, but none leading away. He was still there. I called the police. The operator assured me that officers would arrive within 5 minutes. Each second felt like an eternity. Then suddenly, a loud thud shook the cabin. My heart pounded. A few seconds of silence passed, followed by a second, more forceful bang. He was trying to break in. Just as the distant sound of police sirens reached my ears, the knocking stopped. I couldn't see him anywhere until I heard the faint sound of footsteps coming from the roof. Yes, he had climbed onto the cabin's roof. When the officers arrived, they found and arrested him there. I'll never know what he intended to do, but that night, I felt like I had come face to face with death. I had arrived home from work about an hour ago, settling in for the night. The rain outside was relentless, drumming against the windows in waves. Thunderstorms weren't common around here, so nights like this always left me a little uneasy. As I sat on my bed watching television, a noise from downstairs made me freeze. It was faint, almost like a shuffle or a soft thud. At first, I dismissed it as the house settling, but an eerie feeling gnawed at me. Reluctantly, I got up to check. I walked downstairs, my footsteps barely audible over the storm's howling wind. Everything seemed normal. No open doors, no movement. Shaking my head at my own paranoia, I grabbed a glass of water and went back to my room. But before I could fully relax, another noise echoed through the house. This time, it was unmistakably loud, hollow crash. My heart pounded as I recognized the sound. The unsteady lamp in my living room had tipped over. The lamp was always a bit wobbly, but it had never fallen on its own before. Something felt wrong. I cautiously made my way back down and found it lying on the floor, exactly where I had feared. I hesitated, scanning the room. The storm wasn't violent enough to shake the house, so what had knocked it over? A part of me wanted to dismiss it, to assume it was just bad luck, but a sinking feeling told me otherwise. I carefully checked the locks and windows before retreating upstairs, my nerves on edge. 45 minutes passed. I turned the volume down on the television, letting the sounds of the storm wash over me. Then I noticed something strange. The rain, it sounded different. It wasn't just outside anymore. It was inside the walls. My stomach twisted as I realized the noise was coming from downstairs. I crept toward the source, stopping in front of the storage closet at the end of the hall near the kitchen. My pulse pounded in my ears as I grasped the doorknob and pulled it open. The window inside was wide open. Rain had been pouring in, soaking the stacked boxes below. My hands trembled as I reached for the latch and slammed it shut. I hadn't opened this window in months. Someone else had. The realization sent a cold shiver down my spine. I turned back toward the house, my breath shallow. My phone was upstairs on my bed. I could either risk running up to grab it or make a break for the door. I opted for the latter. Grabbing my car keys from the kitchen counter, I started towards the front door as quietly as I could. Just as I reached the hallway, a sudden explosion of footsteps thundered above me. Someone was running fast straight for the stairs. I didn't hesitate. I bolted for the door, flung it open, and ran out into the rain. My heart slammed against my ribs as I jumped into my car, started the engine, and peeled out of the driveway without looking back. I called the police from my car. When they arrived, they found nothing. No prints, no signs of forced entry. But after investigating further, they determined that the vibrations from someone trying to force the old storage window open had likely knocked over the lamp. Whoever had broken in must have hidden somewhere in the house when they realized I was awake. They were waiting for me to fall asleep. I don't know what they wanted. Maybe it was a robbery. Maybe it was something worse. But the thought of someone standing outside my bedroom door while I sat there, unaware, still haunts me. Even now, in the quiet moments at home, I can't shake the feeling that I'm being watched.